right, quite a few odds and ends to catch up with. In fact, far too consequential to be considered odds and ends, so let's edit that. Let me bring in Nolan Finley of the Detroit News and Stephen Henderson of WDET in Detroit Today to sort it out. Guys, I want to start with the money party in Lansing. There's a lot of money laying around in the Capitol. It just so happens to be an election year, so it seems like a good time to give more of it back. A lot of people still enjoying the fact that they got their rebates on their car insurance checks. But Nolan, what's better policy? A rebate, as the governor is talking about, or tax cuts, as Republicans in the legislature are talking about?
Well, I always prefer tax cuts, Devin, because they have a longer lasting impact and they provide, I think, more benefit to households, to businesses, whatever. You know what your new tax burden is going to be. So, I prefer that to a rebate, which just flushes through the economy and is gone, could actually contribute to inflation. But what we say in today's editorial is we should maybe slow down and look ahead here. We see some real economic storm clouds, as everyone does, on the horizon. And we talked to the Anderson Economic Group. It says that notes we've had 4 quarters of declining real earnings in the state. Bloomberg says now there's a 30% chance of a recession. And as we know, it's a whole lot easier to cut taxes when times are flush than it is to raise taxes when the state is broke. So we'd urge a little prudence here in discussing tax rebates, and that's not usually where I am. I love a tax cut or even a tax rebate, but this, it might be worth looking out ahead and saying, okay, if we do this now, are we going to wish we had that money set aside a year or two from now?
Stephen, there are some who believe that people do need more immediate relief because of what's going on with the price of everything, especially gasoline right now. But does Nolan have a point that we need to be thinking about the long-term storm that's gathering on the horizon?
Yeah, so you'll have to give me a second to pick my jaw up off the ground, because I just heard Nolan say that he's not in favor of a tax cut here.
Didn't say that. I argue for prudence.
So I think that is part of what argues for a rebate if you're going to do anything, right? That you don't change the fundamental tax structure, but you give people some sort of temporary relief because things are pretty bleak right now. I don't think there's anything wrong with that logic, but I just object to the whole idea of doing this in an election season. I mean, I think if you really want to talk about tax structure, there are a lot of things we need to fix in terms of taxes in Michigan. Why not wait till after the election? Let's get to see who's going to be governor. Let's get to see what the new legislature looks like, and then really actually sit down and talk about it. This is about pandering for votes on both sides of the aisle, which doesn't often lead to good policy.
I need to pick up my jaw. You sound a little bit like Mitch McConnell. Let's not do anything until after the election here.
That's different.
I understand. I got a couple of things I want to, because we could spend a long time on this. I want to move on to some other things. We're all going to be up at Mackinac here the week after Labor Day. Nolan, I think we were all looking forward to this gubernatorial debate, and it's kind of turned into a bit of a mess. Ryan Kelly was in, then out, then in, and now back out again, I guess, over either having to show that he's had the vaccine or a negative COVID test. What do you think about this sort of entire environment?
Well, I don't think it's a great loss. What concerns me more, and I've expressed this, is that I thought Tudor Dixon should be on that stage. I know the polling doesn't look as favorable for her, but she's the only woman candidate on the GOP side. She has picked up some important endorsements from officials, from Congress people, what have you. She's running a more vigorous campaign, perhaps, than some of the others. I'd like to see her up there and see how she contrasts, because if you look what's happening with these signatures, we could lose a couple of these guys who are on the stage, perhaps even by the time Mackinac rolls around.
It's very true. Stephen, I sympathize with the chamber. Anybody, though, trying to host this, as we've seen before, 10 candidate debates don't really leave you with a whole lot. This is a tricky thing to try and create a little bit of something that passes as effective and helps people sort of winnow the field.
Yeah, well, Nolan and I have had to moderate those debates in the past, and it's not any fun at all.
Yep.
And I don't think people learn anything when you got that many people on the stage. There's got to be a better way to do this. I'm not sure what that is, but this is what we're stuck with. And look, this is the Chamber's conference. This isn't a public event. It's a member event. You pay to go. The chamber gets to set the rules, and if you don't want to follow the rules, then you won't be there. And I don't think the rules are unreasonable at all, especially given the numbers: 27,000 new COVID cases last week in Michigan. Come on, should we all be up there just acting like the pandemic didn't happen? That doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah. All right, guys,
And they did say.
Oh, go ahead.
They did say they're holding it outside, and so the vaccination rules won't apply. I think he's just grandstanding.
Yeah.
He said that, somewhere he has to put his foot down, but that was after he had said that he was, you may be right. He decided he could make more hay by not going than he could if he did. Well, guys, I've only got about 45 seconds left here, but I want to let you both weigh in. We just watched a couple of big elections take place this past week. We watched a fight break out with Donald Trump and Jocelyn Benson. What did we learn this past week about Donald Trump's impact moving forward to the midterms? Nolan, you first.
Well, I mean, it's clear he still has influence on the party. And you saw that in Ohio, and you're seeing it now in Pennsylvania with Oz sort of locked in a tight race. Yeah. He still has influence, but it's been somewhat spotty. It hasn't been universal.
Stephen, jump in there real quick.
Well, this is all gearing up for 2 years from now, and the question about how strong he'll be in the Republican primary. There is a great internal struggle going on in the party right now. I think more and more people are realizing that he's toxic and that he will lead the party off the cliff. But they aren't able to convince voters of that, and that remains the challenge.
All right, guys, I got to get to a break. We got to leave it there, but I will see you both on Mackinac. Thanks very much for the time today, and that does it for our time today as well. Hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next time right back here for Flashpoint.